John is close to the source. He heard these words. We have found him of whom Moses in the law and also the prophets spoke. Jesus of Nazareth, the son of Joseph. Can anything good come out of Nazareth? This sounds too true to life, not actually to be true in history. It's what the French would call guerre de clocher, belfry warfare. Cana is not far from Nazareth. These are local sort of neighbours, and it's rather like what would happen between one local football team and another, name calling. There is nothing new under the sun. And so what is his puzzlement when the Lord has heard this remark, and it shows that he has heard it, though he was well out of earshot? Behold, an Israelite indeed, in whom there is no guile. That is to say, he says things as they are, and the reaction is immediate. Rabbi, you are the Son of God. You are the King of Israel. He is attracted. There is a magnetism. There is a power in the gaze and in the word. And in the first instance, it's always like that in Christian history. If there's no relationship, no bonding, we have to do with but a religion. When there is relationship, it is quite different. In that context, if a person has no desire to pray, if a person has no desire to be in the things of God, it's difficult, very difficult, to plant something which is not internal in that equation and to force from the outside. Will there be prayer taking place? Is there conversation taking place between people when heart and heart are not meeting? But when there is an explosion of relationship and encounter, then from the inside things start to happen. In the Last Supper, Bartholomew, Nathaniel, it's the same person, wants to be with Jesus and wants to die with him. There is a bonding and a love very intense by that point. The fact that he's referred to as Nathaniel in John, but as Bartholomew in the others, is explicable by the fact that Bartholomeus would simply mean son of Ptolemy. And Nathaniel would be the first name. Gift, Nathan, El, of God, a typical Hebrew name. After the Ascension, he became a great preacher. He went, according to tradition, to the area of India, Armenia, and Arabia. We have a few details coming down from tradition about him. There is this curious tradition. Pantenus of Alexandria is said by Eusebius, the great early church historian, to have found in India, that's India as they would call it, during the second half of the 2nd century, a Gospel of St. Matthew, written, notice, in Hebrew. and left behind by Bartholomew. Here we have a direct link with Matthew. And we have that ancient tradition that he did originally produce the sayings of the Lord in Hebrew. That would explain how the present Gospel of St. Matthew is very Semitic in tone. We have, as it were, Hebrew coming through in Greek. The expressions are very Hebrew. The order of words and so on, things come through indicating how close it is to the origin. The Roman martyrology attributes to him an apostolate in India and Armenia. It seems that Arabia also enters into the equation, where he was said to have been flayed alive. That's terrible, having the skin removed. Flayed alive before being beheaded. And the place given traditionally is Derbend on the Caspian Sea. So the relics, according to tradition, they were translated first to the island of Lipara, then to Beneventum, and lastly to Rome, where the church of St. Bartholomew on the Tiber still claims them. That's a little island. An arm of St. Bartholomew was given to Canterbury in the 11th century by Cnut's wife, Queen Emma. This was regarded as a sensational acquisition worth a fortune, and no doubt contributed to the diffusion of the cult in England, as did his appearance in the life of Guthlac by Felix. This was a hermit, and his patron saint was St. Bartholomew, who would appear to him. He once gave him a scourge, and this was to fight the demon with. No fewer than 165 ancient churches were dedicated to him in England, including Crowland Abbey, and that's linked with St. Guthrie. So, he is patron saint of tanners and all who work at skins. The Gospel has been taken up by the great Premonstratensian abbot Adam of Dryburgh. He is perhaps the greatest contemplative author of the Premonstratensian order. He eventually became a Carthusian, but continued to write, and one sees the evolution in his writings. It becomes purely vertical, although he does actually preach, when he is a Carthusian, to the Archbishop of Canterbury, because he comes on visit and it's he who is chosen to preach to him. He was a great preacher already. But this Premonstratensian was anchored completely in contemplation, and he has a whole teaching about the balance between the two, and he bases some of his thinking on this very gospel. Truly, truly, I say to you, you will see heaven opened, and the angels of God ascending and descending upon the Son of Man. Now, in his teaching, one is never to leave contemplation, and therefore any activity that one does in the realm of preaching and the sacraments is still in contemplative mode, in such a way that one is ascending and descending on the Son of Man. That is to say that all that one does is based essentially on a two-way communication without ever coming away from the gaze upon the Son of Man. It is an angelic mode, and why not? The contemplative preacher is doing the work of angels. What is an angel? A herald. Angelein is to announce. The Evangelion is the good announcement, the good news. The word of God proclaimed is an angelic ministry. And anything to do with the sacraments is man and God working hand in hand. At certain moments, God is depending on the voice box of the minister. And therefore, the Blessed Trinity is working side by side, and indeed in an integral way bound up with the humanity of the priest. How can one not be, therefore, a contemplative? And this is the bit that God wants. We can't have a compartmentalization of the person. All that one does is in relationship, and one is always in love with the one that one is worshipping and transmitting to others. When that is happening, one is ascending and descending on the Son of Man, and the Son of Man is passing through us. We then can eclipse ourselves and be less concerned about our concern with success and attention. If that happens, the Lord is free to bless. If not, we're doing our own thing. Vos qui secuties Deus me, sed imedius super sedes, judicates duo decim tribus Israel dicet Dominum.